What recent MS studies about relapsing remitting disability tells us about your ERISA disability claim. You may have purchased an ERISA disability policy or plan to provide for benefits if you were unable to work. And if you have relapsing and remitting MS, I will tell you that it can be difficult getting your ERISA disability benefits, particularly at the time of the initial diagnosis. The reason is the nature of the disease: relapsing, remitting, relapsing, remitting. And disability carriers are going to be taking a close look at your medical records, and they're going to be looking for symptoms that subtly worsen with periods of remission, where the symptoms just ease off or disappear entirely. Now, ERISA disability carriers are quick to take the position that the longer the period of time between these episodes, the less likely it is that you are in fact disabled and entitled to your ERISA disability benefits. One of the keys, I think, to getting your disability benefits in a relapsing remitting case is documenting the nature and frequency of the episodes. Now, this can be even more confusing, I think, since the relapses can directly cause a worsening of the underlying disability, or can cause new symptoms. And these new symptoms may be obviously different in quality or character, and they may change after each relapse. So what I think is important here is documenting whatever the underlying MS symptoms are when you are having an episode. And then when you have a next episode, to talk about what's changed with the original symptoms, if any, and then what might be new in terms of new symptoms. And in regard to each of those symptoms, you want to discuss how long these symptoms are lasting and how these symptoms are impacting your ability to function. Because remember, the disability carrier here is going to be looking at the nature and frequency of the relapses or flares, because they expect everyone to have the same longitudinal course. And in fact, every case is unique. Every MS patient experiences the disease differently. And so you need to be establishing, if you will, a baseline, the baseline episode, if you will, what happens in terms of your symptoms and functionality, how long it lasts, what treatment you get, how you respond to that treatment, and then the length of time between the next episode, what's going on with you functionally or cognitively, and then any new episode. Now, there's a new study where Australian scientists analyzed data on patients who had relapse activity and disability progression. And I plan on trying to use this study in my MS appeals. And according to an article in Multiple Sclerosis News Today, July 31st, 2023, the study talks about relapses that occur in the first few years after the disease develops, and the impact that they have on the rates of disability that are worsening. Now, interestingly though, the study showed that after about 2.5 years, more relapses didn't consistently result in a worsening of disability. I will tell you that's not necessarily true in my experience, but of course I'm not a doctor. But the study finds that the patients who have more relapses in a shorter period of time are more likely to experience more frequent relapses, and that association doesn't change over time. So if you begin to have more frequent relapses, you probably will have more frequent relapses, and that is apparently going to be the continuous period or continuous progression according to this study. I think that, again, you may have a situation where you've had these symptoms prior to you being unable to work. And I think that your medical records should reflect the nature of those pre-disability flares that you're having, the symptoms that you are having, how those symptoms impacted your ability to function. And now you're having relapses that are becoming more disabling to the point where you're thinking about applying, stop working and applying for your benefits. So I think you need to also not only do a sort of a before, but an after kind of scenario in your medical records. Obviously, it would be better if you have an experienced ERISA disability attorney such as myself review all the medical records and help you create this narrative that should be a part of your claim. If you have any questions about your rights to ERISA disability benefits because of MS, particularly in relapsing remitting MS, call me today at 727-894-3188. It would be my honor and my privilege to represent you. It doesn't matter where you live, who your disability carrier is, contact me today at 727-894-3188 for a complimentary consultation.